Hey, what's up guys? John from Mongo Fishing. Today I'm here on the Monster Bass channel to talk to you guys about color selection and an additional factor that I use to help determine what my starting color is in the first place, sometimes. We all know that you're supposed to use bright colors on bright days and that you're supposed to use dark colors on overcast days or at night. But there's still one more thing that I like to do to help determine where I'm starting with in the first place. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so before we get into this, if you're not already subscribed to the Monster Bass channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button right down there along with the bell notification button so you get notified every single time Monster Bass comes out with another video. I'd be honored if you came over and checked out my channel, Mongo Fishing. It'll be linked down in the description below. I put out Monster Bass unboxing videos. I do real tournament footage, whether I put the video out whether I do well or I suck and get a 0, I still put it out anyway. And I think that's important because it's not always 5 bass limits and cash and checks. Everybody has a bad day. And so I think it's, something good to put out the bad days too. All right, so let's get into this. For demonstration purposes, I'm gonna do this with swim jigs, but this applies to other baits too. It doesn't have to just be swim jigs. You can use it for buzz baits and spinner baits and whatever, right? But for demonstration purposes, swim jigs. Bright colors on bright days. And this is stuck. Dark colors on dark days. Natural colors in clear water. But there's an additional factor, and that's what's going on in the lake. Right now here in the south, you have a shad spawn going on. It's going on, in a lot of the US, right? And so if you can get on a shad spawn bite, if you can find a shad spawn first thing in the morning, you really should be throwing a white or, something shad patterned, right? Sexy shad, white, bone, pearl, anything sort of like that. It doesn't really matter if you're in crystal clear water or muddy water. Shad spawn, if you got one going on, this should be what you're throwing. Now, after the shad spawn dies off, and I'm not necessarily talking time of day, talking more of time of year, but it could be time of day also, then you switch to the bluegill color. After the shad spawn is over, the bass, after the bass spawn, some of them will pull out and go deep, and they'll still feed off of big shad. The ones that'll still stay up cruising the bank, you got fry garters and other stuff that are up there. Fish just jump right behind the boat. They're eating shad, or they're eating bluegill. And so if you're throwing a shad pattern, they may not really want that, but they will want this. So you kind of got to think about what's going on there, right? Am I chasing shad eaters or am I chasing bluegill eaters? Now, another example is what happened today. This morning I started off throwing this and I caught a fish or two, and then I noticed a bunch of little bugs flying around, and they were up near the shore, and bluegill were eating those bugs. I heard some bluegill snaps, started really paying attention, saw bluegill eating those bugs, and then I switched up to a black buzzbait and caught fish with the black buzzbait. Because again, my fish had gone from being shad eaters to bluegill eaters, and so I just adapted. The lake didn't change, the conditions didn't change, the diet changed, the food chain changed. Now, what kind of brought this on and got me really looking into this and really paying attention to this was, I don't know, last year, year before, something like that. I was practicing for a tournament. It was actually pre-practice, and I was throwing a white buzzbait, and I was catching fish, and everything was, cool. And then, I don't know, like a week or two went by, and I'm back there out there in the lake, and this is for like, official practice or whatever. And I was getting bites on the white buzzbait, but they just weren't really eating it. They were just kind of swatting at it. And I couldn't figure out why, what had changed. And so I pull into a pocket, and there was a bunch of bluegill beds. They were everywhere. And you could smell the bluegill spawn that was going on. If you've ever been around a big bluegill spawn, then you'll know there's a distinct odor that's associated with that. And so I realized that, you know what, my bass might not be eating shad now. They might be pursuing these bluegill. So I put on a black buzzbait, got back to work, and sure enough, that's what I needed to do, was throw a darker color buzzbait. And then I started getting bites, and they were actually, you know, choking this thing. An additional thing to look for, like I mentioned earlier, the bugs, right? Well, every year, especially down here in the south, you're gonna have a mayfly hatch. This year there's gonna be a huge cicada hatch. I don't even know what that's gonna do. But the mayfly hatch causes the same sort of food chain. You're gonna have a bunch of mayflies that are hatch, and they're gonna get, you know, they're gonna fly up into a tree right near the bank and just start a big food chain right there. Bluegill are gonna be eating those mayflies that are falling out of the tree. Big bass are gonna be eating those bluegill that are eating those mayflies. So if you come across a mayfly hatch, put on something bluegill colored, zip it out there, whether it's, you know, it could be a frog, you know, a black frog, whatever. Get it back up underneath that tree and hang on, because you're probably gonna get bit. All right, guys, hopefully that helps you guys. Again, if you are new to the Monster Bass channel, please hit that subscribe button right down there along with the bell notification button. My name is John from Mongo Fishing. My channel will be linked down in the description below. Be honored if you came over and checked me out also. Again, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment below. Myself or someone else from the Monster Bass staff will gladly answer your questions. If you have any input to it, feel free to drop that down below also. As always, guys, get out on the water, be safe, and go stick some lips. Go catch a monster bass.